without much further ado, let's jump into the world of Ken. So let's start at the beginning. Um, how did the role of Birdy come to you, and what did you find so intriguing about the character?
Well, I got a call about it one day from the lovely casting agent, Louise Kiley, and she said they were making the show. It's going to be in Dublin, which was great. It was, 6 months into the pandemic, and we were sort of in a quite severe lockdown in Ireland. I don't know where you have been living, Sam, or what it was like for you, but initially we could go 2 kilometers, and that was all. And people really stayed within their homes and didn't do anything. And all of our children were at home on the Zoom, and everybody was at home. So I'm 6 months in. It was very exciting. The idea of going to work anywhere, doing anything, was a really intriguing, enticing, enthralling proposition. And then, well, I went to meet them, and I read the scripts, obviously, and I thought that it seemed really interesting. And it's obviously set in they're a crime family. It's set in crime world, but the strongest thing about it was just this very interesting family and how they react and what their relationships are, how they're kind of tangled up in each other, the way families are, I think, especially probably dysfunctional ones, and there's just this kind of magnetic vortex that you're all just drawn into, and no matter how difficult or damaging it is, you can't escape it. And in fact, you probably try and recreate it all the time, everywhere, in all of your relationships and patterns. So I loved that. I loved the way they were. And then my character, Birdy, well, it's the best name I've ever had, ever, on in any film or thing or television or anything or a play. It's the best name I've ever had. And she just was, in some ways, the least developed in the original scripts. It was sort of clear why they wanted to have her, and they really felt that this kind of matriarch would be just an interesting person, an interesting character. Instead of having a man in that position, that it would be really good to have a woman, and the different way that she would act or react or create tension with the other characters. But they hadn't really decided who she was, what she looked like, or how she'd gotten to be in that position, or how she felt herself about being in that position. So they asked me how I felt about all those things for Birdie. So that was just a kind of brilliant way to be invited to be part of something. If they say, come in, and then also, could you please tell us who she is? So I was delighted with that opportunity, and I really felt I could figure out who she was going to be, and why she had gotten to that, why she was who she was as well. I think that's kind of important to know if you want to play somebody, that people might care about, that you'd want to believe them and understand the motivations, even for their bad stuff. Yeah.
Well, when you're working with that blank of canvas, especially when you're painting with darker colors involving the death of of a family member, really,
Mm.
right there from jump, do you find that canvas intimidating? Do you find it liberating? And what were some lines in the character description that you kind of gravitated towards and kind of informed the direction that you pushed your performance?
Well, one of the things that seemed really clear to me was, I mean, the words that are used, the things that she says herself all the time, are all defined kind of how she feels about family. That it's kind of it's the pinnacle of everything for her. It's That's where all love is based. That's where all loyalty is based. It's her absolute firmament. Um, but it was also clear from other ways that she looked at things, and the way she saw problems, and that she was clever, that she could have had a lot more responsibility within that family, and probably would have had if her gender had been different. So that was one of the things that I really wanted to look at, and that she's constantly torn between this idea of really wanting to support her brother Frank, because loyalty and family, but also kind of being, annoyed with him some of the time and a bit resentful that he's making these decisions that she could have and should have made and possibly would have made better. So that's I think real people are, not just layered, they're not just have different impulses, but they're almost always contradictory. They really have feelings and desires and things that they want to solve or get to that conflict against, with the inner conflict within themselves. So I really felt there was all this kind of stuff of that for her. So that made her really interesting to me.
Well, in talking about Frank, I mean, it gives you the opportunity to work with Aidan Gillen again, who you worked with on Sing Street. And I love that movie. And it's wild to me that that movie is 5 years old now. But how was it?
Together, we worked together 20 years ago. We also played brother and sister in Queer as Folk.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I wonder, like, with that much time in working with Gaten, what is your creative shorthand like, especially as you're pushing each other in these kind of darker, more emotionally charged sequences?
I think that the thing that we do normally is because, like, we would trust each other. Well, I can't speak for Aidan, so I won't actually. I trust him completely. I just know he's really generous as a person and as an actor, and he's going to give you as much, if not more, when he's off camera to make sure that you have everything that you need for yours. Like, he really is brilliant. So that's never a question. I never have to think about that. So rather than kind of any kind of shorthand to do with the acting, we wouldn't bother with that. But what we do, because we don't ever have to think about that at all, what we do is, like, as soon as they're saying, okay, cut, we're like, what, really? And then what did she say? And then we're very chatty, both of us. So we're just like full of like other distract ourselves all the time with books, a new book that we found, or a film, or somebody's performance that we've remembered, or something like that. So it's always like what a gift to have a friend, because you spend a lot of time in a day on a film set. It's really great to have somebody close by that you get on so well with, that you can hang out with.
Well, and I also love that the movie or this miniseries doesn't play down to American audiences. Like, it's still
Yeah.
inherently Irish. All those references are there and everything. And
Yeah.
at least based on, I haven't been to Ireland in a couple of years because of all this, but yeah, every
No, we're frozen in time. Nothing has happened. Yeah,
oh my,
March 19. We're all still there, really, in our minds.
but yeah, how is it working with something that is going to have, an international release and yet is still so identifiably Irish?
I was really happy that they did that. That was something that I worried about a little initially when I knew that Braun was making it, because they were coming from an American perspective. But then I just had a look at the other stuff that they have done, and I mean, they're clever people, and they know what they're doing, and their attitude, or the way they behaved around us, the lovely producers who were there all the time, Sam and Emma, and David, who spoke with us on the phone. Um, they're kind of, the way they operate is they let you make what you're going to make. I mean, they read it, and they're very involved in the story and scripts and the casting, and then they say, okay, we believe that you can make it, so go and make it, and then we'll take that, and then we'll bring it off, and we'll see if we can sell it to an American distributor or streamer or whatever. They don't get the streamer or distributor in first and then make the thing to suit them. They make the thing that they want to make in the beginning. They have it in their minds. They understand what the creator and the director are setting up, and they allow them to do that. And then they take it away. It's a good model. I think it's a really intelligent way to get something that has an authentic, it has its own voice. And I hope people are gonna want to watch it enough that they'll watch more and more of them. I haven't seen them all, so I actually really want to watch them all now. I've seen some full ones, and then pieces of other episodes as we did the ADR, and I just thought it looked so great, and I mean, they're great actors, aren't they? They're just great.
It's a murderer's row of a cast. It's fantastic. I
Yeah.
think I have time for one more question, and just to kind of close this out, what are you really excited about with the audiences just worldwide getting the chance to see this kind of like? I mean, because you really do keep it's a crime drama, but the
Yeah.
focus on family is always there in a way I haven't seen since like maybe The Godfather or something like that, right? Um,
Really?
yeah, I mean, because you've got Frank kind of as like
Take
Sonny
that.
Corleone,
I'll
right?
take
You know,
that. Yeah, thanks.
but yeah, what are you excited about audiences to see with this family crime drama?
I don't really know. I mean, I don't know how people will react to it. I think that the strongest piece of it is not the crime. I think the strongest piece of it is this family, and it's repeating patterns of aggression and destruction and listening and not listening and talking about loyalty, but maybe making bad decisions that are going to pull the whole house down. And I think that's the way families often are. So I think people will relate and understand that, and I hope that we've told it with enough kind of excitement and compassion that you're just going to want to watch more, and that we'll get to make more. I would like to do it again. And I hope people get a good laugh out of Birdie's really awful wardrobe as well.